Any jaw-dropping moment for you when you like read the script and you were like, "Wow!" Of course, you know how it's gonna end.
Yeah.
And
Mike White teases you a lot in this season. She'll come down. She's just always gonna. She has to move. This girl can't stay still. นใคร
พี่ต้องเข้มแข็งกว่านี้ดิถึงจะทำงานนี้ได้อะ
In life, a lot of trouble has found me. They told me you can't seem to hear out of your left ear. Because there is
really
no
heartbreaking.
way. It's very heartbreaking because I really thought up to that point that this is my path. This is what I was born to be. One day I did go out and ask them like, hey guys, like I really want to join your team. And they would just turn to me and just kind of laugh. They're like, huh, like really? Like you want to join? I don't think that's a good idea, man. As I was going out, I had the thought, this is my chance.
This is your audition.
This is my audition. It is my audition.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do anymore.
Throw him, man. Throw him.
I got pretty crazy behind the bar because I'd be like shaking and it's like dancing.
Tayme,
Be big.
I have a confession to make.
What's that?
I have not watched a single episode of the White Lotus.
Okay, that's all right. Because I before I got casted, I never watched a single episode either.
Because actually, I've been kind of saving it. I've watched like bits and pieces, like short clips from social media.
Yeah.
But I kind of, hold it so I can binge after you guys
You're
are
a
done.
binger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I like to do that
because
too.
I cannot wait like another week until I know
Yeah.
or find out what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I completely understand.
Yeah.
I'm like that too.
Are you a binger or
I am a binger. I do find it hard, to watch just one episode per week.
I know.
Because when I get into a session of sitting in front of my TV or projector,
right.
I can't just watch one episode.
I know.
Even if it's just one episode available, I will always
Yes.
find something else to watch after that.
And especially with the show like the White Lotus, you do not want to wait to find out for like another 7 days, right?
Yeah.
You just want to know the whole thing.
It can feel slow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So you guys have been doing so great, and it
Thank
was
you.
huge, right? It's huge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm finding out more and more that it's huge. Before I got cast, I never knew what it was because I'm always watching action films.
That's what I heard too.
And spy thrillers and stuff like that.
Like you had no idea.
I had no idea what it was. Yeah. But luckily, I looked into it and discussed it with P-Way, who I was working for at the time.
Right.
And he was like, "Is this White Lotus from HBO?" And I was like, "I think so." It's like, dude, what are you doing here? Go and cast. Like, go try it.
I will be talking about White Lotus in detail later on. Of
course.
But first of all, welcome to the show and thank you so much. We are grateful
Thank you
that
very much.
we got you here today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You've been busy.
I've been a lot more busy, yes.
Yeah.
But it's great, a good kind of busy.
Yeah, people want to talk to you. People want to find out who you are.
Yeah, I guess I've been in the shadows for a while.
Yeah. First of all, you were born and raised in the UK, right?
Yes.
By Thai parents.
Yes.
So you're not mixed or halfy.
Nope, I'm 100% Thai.
Full Thai.
Yes.
All right. Is it true that you were the only Asian kid at your school?
Yes, first schools I went to, I was the only Asian kid.
Yeah.
And
Did you feel different? Do you still remember how you felt?
Yeah, it definitely had a big impact on my life when I think back to it because I went through quite a bit of bullying, where I got bullied a little bit. You know, it was a time where I felt scared the whole time.
Right.
Even to leave the house, to walk to school, or like even after school, you know, like there would be that fear inside me. It was like, oh my God, he's coming. Oh, he's gonna, you know, it was like, it wasn't so much physical bullying. It wasn't like getting hit, or anything like that.
Like verbal mostly?
It was mostly verbal.
Okay. But that's even worse.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes because it pierces a bit more deeper, like bruises heal pretty quick, but sometimes you remember those things that people say. And it really made an impact on me because I hated being scared. It made me hate that feeling because I'd only feel safe in the house. When I come out, it would be things that, I even just outside my house when I remember one time just waiting for my dad outside my house. I think we were going somewhere and I just waited outside and like these two guys walked past. They were like teenagers or something. I was very young. But I just remember that shot of them just walking past and then like just spat like at my feet.
Yeah.
And I was like scared, they didn't do anything else, but it's just that kind of feeling that, you feel like really intimidated, you know, and other stuff like there would be a local park in the area where I would go with my one best friend back then who was a Spanish guy, and we'd both get picked on because his English wasn't that great either at the time. And I remember we'd be on our scooters just in the park, and then these other kids would just come and surround us and just like kind of try to take our scooter and take our bikes and stuff like that. So we always like just became very scared.
Yeah.
I remember that time very well because it's what made me feel I need to change.
Yeah.
I need to fight back. The turning point was I remember there's this new kid that came into school. His name was Max. Can't remember his surname, but remember his name was Max. And I hung out with him a lot. He was the new kid, and I guess I was a nice guy. I was like, just trying to look after the new kid. And I remember one break time, we went to the playground, and the same group of kids came and surrounded me, and this guy Max too. And it was actually Max that actually fought back first because they were all doing the same kind of bullying, like verbally abusing me, and then is this your new friend? And then Max was one of those kids that he just wouldn't take it. He just got up, and I remember he pushed the guy, and the guy's like, you touch me again, I'm gonna break your nose. I remember that sentence very well, and then Max just punched him in the face. And
Good
I think
for Max.
I think we were like 9.
Wow.
9 or 10. This is before I went to boarding school, like just before, like 9 or 10. And I remember he fought back, and that's just when it hit me. It's like, oh wow, we can fight back. Like, why haven't And
this is what I'm supposed to do.
It was just 2 of us, and it was like 4 of them. But
wow.
It's like not that anyone won or lost, but at least we kind of fought back, and after that it kind of stopped.
Wow.
There would be kind of looks when we walked past each other in school, but they never sort of verbally
because they knew now
bullied
that
us anymore.
God,
yeah, I was like,
these guys
they'll fight back, and that's what made me start to realize that you don't necessarily you don't have to fight first, but at least you need to know
set
within
up for yourself, right?
That you need to set a boundary. It's not that anyone says anything, you just punch them. That's not right. But at this point, when it's been like 2 years of just bullying constantly, to the point where it made us scared to leave our homes, when we fought back, it was a huge satisfaction, and things just changed after that. And I changed after that. I became a lot more confident, and then I knew that okay, maybe I need to, I need to learn some martial arts,
right.
And that's when my dad put me into karate.
And it's not like you kind of like went and look for a fight after that.
I mean,
right?
I was naturally, I'm never someone who looks for a fight. And still to this day, I've never actually started a fight. But just in life, a lot of trouble has found me eventually, But we'll definitely get to that.
Wow, that's a great story of like your first fight and how it changed everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely a turning point. It just makes you know that you need to have boundaries. Everyone needs to have a boundary, and if those boundaries are pushed, there are consequences.
And then you did martial art after that?
Yeah, my dad had me in Shotokan karate. So I actually reached brown belt 2 stripes, so that was 1 away from black.
Wow.
Before I actually went to boarding school.
I see.
Yeah. So I think after I became more confident, I actually became a bit more naughty too. So there's pros and cons to that.
And did troubles follow you to boarding school too?
Boarding school, yeah. I mean, a little bit. I mean, there was a little bit of bullying there,
okay.
But it was dealt with quite quick. You know, my it's just I think my tolerance for being bullied was just a lot lower now.
Right.
I wouldn't let myself get bullied, you know, at all. Like if it
it's
started,
like,
I just
enough
try
with
and
this shit. I'm not gonna.
I was done from I was really done. Yeah, but I was just always a small kid.
Right.
A small, skinny kid growing up. So
Who knows how to fight now?
Now I do, but back then, you know, it was even though I learned karate and my dad taught me a bit of Muay Thai at home. It's still to do with the mentality. You know, after being hit a few times, you start to feel like, you know, I'm not made out of glass. You know, we all heal. That's what humans do. Like, you know, and that's how we're made. So it just, you know, just getting a grasp of life. You know, I just slowly learning bit by bit. It was fun. You know, thinking back now, I really enjoyed the process.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you still at the time did you feel more like a British person more than a Thai person outside of your home?
It was weird. I only started to see myself, you know, after all the, obviously during the bullying stuff, I felt like I'm Asian, you know, because I'm bullied because I'm Asian right now. But after that, I started being more confident and then, you know, being with, you know, more like the popular group when at school. And then I started to forget that I was Thai. I think like 11 to 15, I actually forgot that I was Thai, you know, because I was at boarding school the whole time. So I didn't really come home that much. So I almost lost connection with Thainess, you know, because in my home with my parents, they always make me speak Thai in the house. They said, this is the only way you're going to be learning Thai. Because if we let you speak English before and then speak Thai later on in life, you're not going to be able to pronounce the Thai words, because in Thai we have like ga 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 ga, right? And my dad's like, otherwise you'll be ga 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 ga, like, you know, you won't be able to pronounce it, you know. But I'd forget to take my shoes off when I come in the house. You know? And that's a big no for my dad. It's like, no, Tayme, go
Shoes
take
off.
your shoes off.
Yeah.
You know, don't forget you're Thai. You know, I know you've been to your other friend's house and, you know, they don't take their shoes off. That's fine. But, you know, in my house, please take your shoes off. We're still Thai.
Right.
And that's when I realized, oh, yeah, I am Thai. And then I actually asked my best friend back then. He's like, hey, do you look at me as a Thai person? And he's like, actually, you know what? I mean, I know you're Thai, but I never really looked at you and was like, this is a Thai guy or this is an Asian guy.
Yeah.
We just kind of saw you as just one of us, you know.
Right.
I was like, oh, interesting. But then, so before, all of that, I didn't actually feel that Thai at all, you know, growing up.
Yeah,
Just
because
no
the environment, people you hang out with, and you don't need your Thainess for anything in your life, basically, right?
Yeah.
What would be the most British thing about you?
Most British thing?
Yeah.
I love fish and chips.
That's certainly British.
That's a very British thing. I mean, after school, before I went to boarding school, after school, every day we would go to local chippy, that's what they call it, and just get the classic fish and chips wrapped up in the newspaper, you know, and, you know, just like I'd get like a big thing of cod and then just chips in there. And also, I think it's also very British to put salt and malt vinegar on your chips.
Okay.
So it's like
very British.
Very sour. Yeah, you know. Yeah.
But you still eat like Thai food at home, right?
When I was growing up, my mom, because my mom and dad had a restaurant, a Thai restaurant.
Okay.
So I would get a lot of Thai food because my dad was the owner and my mom was the head chef. And there would be a lot of Thai food.
Right. Is it the authentic version or the like adjusted?
It's actually very authentic. My dad's very much about sticking to the simple but authentic Thai, like not fusion. His restaurant was called Tui Restaurant, Tui. So it was in South Kensington, like opposite the Natural History Museum.
I see.
He had that open for about, I think like just under 20 years, like 18 years.
Okay.
And so he had that before I was born.
I see.
So when I was born, he was still running it. And so we had a lot of Thai food at home. I actually never tried another cuisine till like later on in life. I think I had a lot of Thai green curry growing up. a lot of Thai green curry.
Wow, cool. So later on in life, we mentioned this before that you went on and studied dance
Yes.
In your university, and the only reason that you pick dance as your major is what?
It's because I didn't want to pick a subject where I thought I had to write. I'm all about staying out of the classroom and just being I learn very well physically and through just like physical movements. I don't learn too well in the classroom.
Right.
So, the reason I chose dance, because my dad's like, look, if you want to go to the army, please finish your education first. Please just get a degree, because that's like I guess that's a cherry on top for him of like, okay, I moved to this country, I worked my ass off, and I've got my son through education, So I understand.
And you had your goal, which is the army.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah.
So you've always wanted to be in the army.
Yeah, I mean, it started from boarding school. The passion started when I was actually 13. Because in boarding school, we have what they call CCF, which is Combined Cadet Force. So it's kind of like Radar, like similar to Radar. I see. I've never done Radar here, but over there, they once you turn 13, you're in the end of year 9. And they give you a selection of like whether you want to go to the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, or the Royal Marines. Army, Air Force, and Navy you can just apply for and just go in. But the Royal Marines was like more of an elite force, so you have to have a selection for it. So me being me, I love the challenge, and I was like, oh wow, like that sounds badass, like I wanna try for that.
Wow.
So that's when my obsession, I guess, with fitness started. Was at 13, and it started a bit earlier than a lot of my friends. My friends were still like playing football and stuff. That was their fitness. But for me, as soon as I heard about the selection for the Royal Marine Cadets, I just stopped doing the other sports as a main sport. I'd run around there, and then I'd come to the sports center, and I'll swim like 20 laps, and then we had like a full Olympic size swimming pool there. So it was I swam a lot because I knew the criteria that they needed to pass the test. So I just did it a bit over the criteria all the time, just
to make sure that you'll get in.
Just to make sure that I will get in. And then when selection came, I really aced it. I felt because I was just training myself all the time. I wouldn't take a day off. I was telling my dad like, okay, I want to. After I finish my A-levels from this day school, I'd love to apply for the real Royal Marines. And at this time, Afghanistan was already going on. They were already deploying soldiers overseas on tours of duty, and I wanted to be part of that. And that's why I said, like, Dad, after A-levels, I'll be 18. I'll be old enough to join the British military. Can I please go? Ooh. But my dad was like, no, like, you're not going at 18. Like, you need to go to uni first. And by the time I'd be 21 and I finish uni, and then I can go. Eventually, I saw the point. And especially now, being like, I'm 35 now and have a daughter of my own, I definitely understand where he was coming from.
And then that's when you did the dance major.
Yes. So after A-levels, I applied for a dance course at Kingston University.
But did you dance before that at all?
Just like at house parties. Not clubs, because I couldn't get into clubs yet. But at house parties, But I was not really, it was, I just know how to move, I guess. Like I never actually studied how to dance. I mean, I love hip hop, street dancing, but I just watched it from Step Up and movies like You Got Served and stuff, and I just mimic it and make it my own.
Liking to dance is one thing, but picking it as a major and study for like years in school is another, right?
Very different. I mean, I did find a lot of struggles during that course. But, I was honest with the teacher because I would be slacking behind a lot when it came to the writing because eventually we have to write a lot in dance.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
because
just couldn't avoid it.
Yeah, you can't
have
avoid
to-
it because you have to write about these famous dance composers and
You're getting a degree after this. Of
Yeah.
course, you have to write something.
so I was just
you can't get
no,
away.
I was
from
terrible.
it.
I was just thinking that I could just hip hop dance my way through,
Right.
and it actually became like a step up movie, a little bit because that's where I met just before I went to uni. That's where I met my first. I actually had my first proper girlfriend then, and she was Thai.
Oh.
That was my intro into Thainess.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
But
So did dancing for 3 years change anything in your future at the point? Like maybe I wanted to keep doing this or still military after this.
Yeah,
or,
still very military after that.
All right.
And especially because during my 3 years of being in the dance course, every weekend I'd work as a bouncer
okay,
Yeah.
at clubs.
at clubs.
Okay.
Yeah. So every weekend, instead of going out and dancing with my fellow classmates, this one was in Putney, an area called Putney. It was a nice bar. It was like by the river, and I applied there as a bartender. I got it, and I was bartending for quite a few months, like maybe 6-7 months.
Wow. Did you
Doing
know how to bartend before that? Or?
No, I just
You
as
just
soon
learned
as
on the job?
18, Yeah, I just learned on the job.
Wow.
So I had the bar manager teaching me how to make like sex on the beach and sex in the jungle, all these different like
Yeah,
colored,
a lot of names with sex.
yeah,
in that.
yeah. I don't know, and Long Island. Yeah,
Right.
but every week I'd always realize that there's fights that always happen in the bar. And I'd see these big guys always come in their black jackets and they look very cool to me. And they just like, take them out. Just like carry them
Handle all
out and
these
then
guys.
handle it outside. And I sometimes don't get to see what goes on outside because I'm behind the bar. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what are they doing outside? But those people definitely
I
aren't
wanna see
coming
the
back.
action.
Yeah, I want to see but it just seemed very cool. And obviously at the time I still had the obsession with being in the military in me. So that's what drew me to them. And I would be I one day I did go out and ask them like, hey guys, like I really want to join your team. Like, how does this work? And they would just turn to me and just kind of laugh. Like, like really? Like, you want to join? I don't think that's a good idea, man. You're going to get yourself hurt. You're
Because
too-
compared to those guys, you must have looked like very small.
very
to them.
small. I mean, I still have I know I still have a baby face today.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
imagine this when I was 18. I'm 35 right now.
Right.
So when I was 18, it was even more baby face, and then at that time, so I was kind of like let down. But there was one time that this is where it all changed, where I was working behind the bar, and a guy came in to have food at the bar. And he came in pretty early. It was like 6, and he sat there, had his pad thai, I remember, and then after that he started drinking by himself. And I think by the time it got to 8 p.m., he's been sitting there just drinking by himself for an hour now, and he's getting a lot more aggressive, and started like trying to sort of grab the bar girls and stuff like that. And so the bar manager was like, Tayme, can you go and get Jono, please, and kind of deal with this? I was like, yeah, sure, 1 second. So I'm about to go out. And then as I was going out, I had the thought, this is my chance.
This is your audition.
This is my audition. This is my audition.
Yeah.
So I decided, you know what? Like, I've got nothing to lose. I'm just going to try. So I walked up to the guy. I still had my apron on as well. So I went up to him, behind him, and just like kind of put my hand on his shoulder and said, excuse me, sir, do you mind just calming down a little bit? Like, you're kind of scaring the bar staff. And he's like, he's turned around and just said, like, fuck you, pretty much. And I was like, okay, so can you, otherwise I'm going to have to ask you to leave, and he's kept on turning. I was like, who the fuck are you? So I was like, okay, this is my chance. And at this time, because I was at uni already, in the first few weeks of uni, I did my first Brazilian jiu-jitsu
Okay.
class
All
at
right.
uni. And one of the first moves we learned was a rear naked choke. So it's the one you just like kind of hold the person's neck there and you kind of squeeze.
Yeah.
And I tried it a few times in class and it worked quite well for me.
Okay.
So I thought maybe I should try this on this guy.
So that's supposed to render him unconscious or just to stop him somehow?
But I knew not to squeeze too hard for too long because otherwise you can cut off the blood supply and they can die.
Okay.
But
You don't want that.
No, you don't want that.
No.
But it was more of like having that lock. So I kept on moving back and he was kind of just like trying to find his footing. He can't. So I was just arching and then moving, and making my way towards the glass doors, the entrance.
Okay, so you kind of like dragging
him.
Okay.
It didn't look very clean, but it was just like a lot of dragging.
Right.
And then the bar staff was like, "Oh, I like Tayme, what are you doing?" I was like, "It's okay." We got to the glass doors,
Yeah.
and the bouncers saw, and they were like, just like from outside, that's all I can see. It's just them being like. And then they eventually opened the doors and I just like kind of backed out and they were like, go on, just finish it off. And I was like, I don't know what to do anymore.
Throw him, man, throw him.
So it's just like, just holding it. And then those guys came in, they took care of it. But it was after that the head doorman was like, you really want to do this, don't you? I was like, yes, sir, I really do.
They were impressed.
Yeah, they're like, all right, well, you've got the heart for it, We'll start you off on Sundays.
Ooh,
because it's
okay.
a quieter night.
Does it make a lot of money? I mean, compared to being a bartender, which I kind of understand that it makes great money, right? You get tips and stuff, right?
Yeah, back then I did get some tips in as a bartender because I would dance too.
Oh, what kind of dance are we talking about here?
I did like hip hop dance behind the bar, but
but not on the bar.
Not on the bar,
okay.
but I got pretty crazy behind the bar because I'd be like shaking and it's like dancing.
All right,
sometimes I just like they'll give me a tip.
Yeah,
I just like put it in there. It was fun, like some nights, but it was only when the music really moved me, like if it was hip hop or something.
Yeah.
But no, I had a lot of fun behind the bars.
Right.
But
as a bouncer.
But as a bouncer, so as a bartender, when I was working then, it was £5 30 per hour, and then you make tips. And tips were pretty good at that bar.
I see.
Yeah, I think you can make like maybe I got like £12-15 a night of tips. So it adds up and it's quite good, especially for back then being a student. I felt like I had a lot more money than my friends who just went out partying. But as a bouncer, it started off at £10 an hour, but you don't make tips.
And all that you just told us about here kind of foreshadowing into your future as the someone who works in the entertainment in Thailand, and then also someone has become a bodyguard to a celebrity in Thailand too.
Yeah. That was years later. So I'll just explain through this quickly, this bit where after being a bouncer, I wanted to join the Royal Marines, like I told my dad.
Yeah.
So I went and applied. Before actually applying at the office, my mum's best friend who works for a ex-SAS operator, his name is Sergeant Mick Tyler, and he was a legend in the SAS, which is the British Special Forces. He lives up in Hereford, and he heard that I wanted to join the Royal Marines. So he's like, oh, good on you. Like, bring him up to meet me in Hereford. I want to meet him, and I'm sure I can give him some training to give him like as much chance as possible to pass the selection. So that's when I went up to meet him in Hereford, and just the first meeting, we didn't do any camping first. It was just a lot of talking, but we kind of clicked really well. And he's usually someone who doesn't really open up to many people,
Right.
But he really opened up to me. We got along well. So for almost a year, I guess, after that, on the weekends, I would just go up to see him. By this time, I think I was done. Yeah, I was done with uni already. I was already graduated. I was 21, and I just went up to see him on the weekends and train. and he would take me to like the Brecon Beacons in Wales, which is actually one of the training grounds used for the SAS in their real selection. But he used this area just because it's like it's hard. It's hard to navigate. Sometimes you have very little visibility. You know, you have a map and you can only see like 5 meters, 10 meters ahead of you. So it can be very disorientating. So it's good for training like that. We didn't do any weapon training because obviously in England, you can't just bring out a weapon and fire it. So there was no weapon training. It was just a lot of map reading, fitness, and a lot of mindset and that kind of training. That led to me, you know, after getting all the training from him, he wrote me a reference letter to go to the careers office in London to apply for the Royal Marines. So I went there, I applied. The first test was a aptitude test. We just sat down and it's just like an IQ test, but for the military. Everything was fine until I went into the hearing test. So I went, they sit me in this box in the chair, and you have like the 2 buttons on each hand. So they say they'll just play beep, 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 beep at different frequencies, and you just press when you hear it. And that's when the test was done, that's when you know, it was just a very big turning point in my life at that time, because they told me you can't seem to hear out of your left ear. There's something wrong with your left ear. I was like, what? Like, what do you mean?
And you had no idea.
Yeah, and they're like,
before.
Look at this graph. Yeah, it was. I mean, I realized that my ear is not that great, my left ear. Since I was 11, when I got off a plane, my dad took me to visit Thailand, and I got off the plane back when we came back to England, and my ear never popped. But I just thought, you know, it'll pop eventually. Right. I didn't think it would get worse and worse and worse. And I never realized it because it gradually, very slowly got worse and worse. So it was only when I saw this graph that I was like, the right ear can hear all the way through. But the left ear is like, it just stops there and I can't hear anymore. Wow. It's very strange. And you know, that was when they told me, like, we can't, unfortunately, because of this, we can't use you overseas.
Really? Just one reason?
You have to be silent, you know, you have to use your hearing a lot. We can't risk you compromising the whole mission or the whole team.
This could cost your life.
Yeah, cost your life and the life of your team, and you know, so it was hard to accept, but I really had to just accept it, because there is no way.
Heartbreaking.
It's very heartbreaking, because I really thought up to that point that this is my path. This is what I was born to be, because I felt there was nothing else in this life that I would rather do. So when that news came along, you know, it was just the most gutted feeling ever. So it just completely broke me. I didn't know what to do with myself, and I was moping around for weeks, you know, until my dad was like, why don't you go to Thailand? So he's like, you know, 2 years, 2 years there. If you can't find something you like, you can come back, and then we can rediscuss what you want to do with your life. That's when I started getting my first job. You know, I had to work, so I got a job as a service manager at a hotel.
Really?
Yeah.
At a hotel too?
At a hotel.
Okay.
It was in a hotel called Praya Palazzo, which was on Phang Thon side.
That's your first White Lotus experience.
That was my first one. It was all building up to it.
Right. But everything's about to come into circle now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I worked there as a service manager, but I've never worked in hospitality before. But they said, you know what, your English is very good, so let's just talk to the guests.
Right.
And so that was my job, is just greeting the guests and talking to them.
Yeah, the English does open doors.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Especially in Thailand.
Yeah, that's when I really realized, like, wow, I've got this job, a managing job straight away just because I can speak English. That's crazy. You know?
And did you like it? Did you like the job?
I stayed for about like 2 months.
Okay, that answers the question. You stayed at the White Lotus way longer than your actual hotel.
Exactly. Like way longer, like 3 times longer.
Okay.
But no, it just wasn't for me. And that's when I realized that, you know, I think I want to try the entertainment industry. I'd only be working within the international films that come to film in Thailand.
The English-speaking part.
Yeah, I've never done a Thai Lakan or a Thai speaking part before.
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. And your real chance, a big break,
Yeah.
came from Pue.
This time I served at the Armed Forces Security Center, which is like the Thailand CIA equivalent. And it eventually led me to come back to Bangkok, where I came back to acting again and got casted in Alien, the new series that's coming out this year, to Alien Earth.
Okay.
And that is where when I got casted as a soldier. So when we went to training, the military trainer that was there, that production hired, happened to be one of the contractors that I worked with before.
Oh.
So when he saw me, he's like, "Oh my God, what the hell are you doing here?"
Yeah.
I was like, I got casted for this role. It's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're here as a trainer." It's like, "Okay, well, that's perfect. I don't need to train you. Can you help me train this other group? Like take these few guys and train them."
Right.
And one of the people he gave me was Pue Titanium. So that's when I met Pue. "Do you want to come work for me? Like you can do security for me if you want. Like, there's an option." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, man."
Like right away, you said yes?
Yes.
Wow,
because I
okay.
just clicked with him. It was really one of those meetings where we just felt like it just clicked, So I worked with him for almost a year before White Lotus.
You had no idea what White Lotus
No,
was?
not at all. And it was Pue that I was like, "Go try it out." Like,
Because he knows.
Yeah, because
like,
he's from,
how
he's
big
from
it is.
Brooklyn, New York. He's more connected with the American shows than I am. So he's heard of it. He hasn't watched it either, but he just said like, "I've heard of it. I heard it's pretty big. Like go try it out."
Right.
So I went to try it out, and it was the first time that I had to speak in Thai for a casting. So I kind of thought, I'm not gonna get this, but
You must have been nervous, like.
It was one of those castings where because you don't really know what it is, you don't know the scale of how big it is.
So no pressure.
I wasn't feeling that much, that much pressure, or I wasn't that nervous. I mean, there's always a certain amount of nerve when you go into a casting room and, you have to cast in front of the camera. But I just felt like from Alien, I just knew that, you know what, I really want to get back into acting because I really enjoyed filming Alien. And Pue even said that if you can't work for me, I know you want to be an actor. If any casting comes and you get it, I won't stand in your way.
Wow.
So he was really great with that. And
He's
that's
so
why
cool.
this happened.
And the moment you realized that you landed the part?
Oh, it was quite a few weeks later because I got the call back first. So they called me back to talk to Mike White and audition again for him to see.
So how many callbacks are there?
It can be as many as he needs, but for me, it was just one callback.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was I guess it just clicked with Mike, because he said I was one of the first people that he actually confirmed for any part in season 3.
Did you ever ask him, like, what did you see in me, or why? What is the reason?
Yeah, it was actually because of my story. This story.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because at the callback, after I acted for him, I left the room, went to get my stuff in the other room, and then came out. And as I was about to leave the suite, Mike White came out and he was going to the bathroom. And he said, "Oh, Tayme, wait, I wanted to ask you, what's your story, man? Like how, because you seem very interesting to me. You're Thai, but you speak with a British accent and you say you've been in the military. Like I really want to know what's been going on in your life."
So how much time do you have?
So I was like, how much time do you have? He's like, "You know what? Email me. You write me a mini biography." So I went home, I wrote my story. I tried to keep it as short as possible, but it was like almost 3 pages of A4. And I sent it in, and they wrote back straight away. It's like, "Wow, this is amazing."
Wow.
I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then like less than a week later, they just called me and was like, "Congratulations, you got it."
Wow.
Yeah, it was really great because I know some people went back for a few callbacks, like back and forth, and but I was very lucky, to just do one callback, and I guess it just clicked for Mike White.
Right.
Yeah. So
and the first moment you have learned about Lisa being your co-star.
So that was even many more months later.
Right.
So because I was one of the first to get cast, I didn't get told that it was Lisa being my love interest until maybe 3 months down later, by which time everyone else had already been casted. I'd been for a fitting at that time, and you know when you go for a fitting, you see on the wall like who's playing who.
Right.
And it'll always be like Mook, and there's just a blank square. Like, you know, there's like everyone else.
Mysterious character right
like,
there.
Who is this? Like, who's gonna? It's like why is it so secretive?
Yeah.
You know, because I can see everyone else. Jason Isaacs, Walton Goggins. You know, and but Mook was just a blank square. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. Are they even gonna cast someone? Because I thought we were like this was like a month before we were gonna start filming.
Right.
So I was getting a little worried. Are they going to cut that out? Am I just going to be by myself? Are they going to change the story?
Am I going to get cut too?
No, yeah. But in the end, they like the casting director called me and was like, Tayme, we can tell you now who it is, but we can't tell you over the phone. We have to meet.
Whoa.
Meet like in person. I was like, oh
Okay.
my God, who the hell is playing Mook?
Right.
So I met them at Terminal 21. They came to see me.
Did you make any guess in your head
The
at
thing
least
is,
like
I asked them already, like, who is, like, can you give me a hint of who it is? They're like, it's a superstar. I was like, wow, superstar. I was like, who's it? It's like Mai Davika, or is it like Bai Fern, or you know, just anyone that I've seen in the Thai, like top Thai people, you know, Thai actresses. I had no idea it was going to be Lisa. You know, it was crazy when I found out.
and she was new to acting, right?
Yeah, it was her
debut.
first acting debut. But they
Yeah.
made me sign NDAs before finding out it was Lisa, just to make sure that I don't just go and tell everyone. So it was like a happiness that I had to keep within myself. I did break it by just telling my dad. I just had to tell my dad. But my dad didn't tell anyone. He doesn't have social media or anything.
All right.
So I just told my dad, and that was it. I wanted to tell my daughter, but I think she'll go and tell the whole school. So that would not work.
And as we can see, you guys are great together, and
Yeah,
people
thank you.
are like loving this.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely took time to break the ice, you know, and we made efforts to really get to know each other well, because you know, and the backstory for our characters is that they were both born on Samui Island, and they know each other very well from birth, you know. So we really had to break the ice, you know. The producers really enforced that. They were like, we want you to be as close as you can possibly be, because this chemistry won't work if you're just turning up to set and be like, hey, hi, I'm Tayme. You know, it doesn't work like that. So it was a lot of a few weeks before we even had our first scene that we were sort of getting to know each other. And it was really nice.
What do you guys do? Like, how do you hang out?
It was mostly like lunch and dinners, just having meals together and just chatting in general about life, about what, you know, common interests. Like we both like hip hop and Afro beats. You know, I love to dance too. So when you know if there's a beat around, anyone has speakers, she will dance. She every morning at set, she'll come down and have her little speakers with her, and while she's doing makeup and hair, she's just always gonna. She has to move. This girl can't stay still.
For sure.
She's got to move all the time. So I enjoy her energy. You know, it's very bubbly.
And you guys are talking and bonding in Thai or English?
It started a bit more in Thai because I thought like maybe she would prefer to speak Thai.
Because you guys will be talking in Thai for the roles.
Yes,
right?
exactly. So I thought, well, let's speak in Thai. But then I don't know why it just naturally just went to English. We always speak together in English now.
Right.
But I think at one point she did say, oh, can we speak in English as well? Because I want to practice my English. And Lisa wanted to practice some English.
Right.
So yeah, we mix it up.
Wow.
But nowadays, it's whenever we see each other, it's like always in English.
And I'm so glad it's you and with Lisa for this role.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
guys are doing like perfect.
Thank you very much.
It's so great. And at this point, where on the day that we're recording this episode, is the season is not over yet.
No.
Right. But do you? Of course, you know how it's gonna end.
Yeah.
And any jaw-dropping moment for you when you like read the script and you were like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, there were a lot of there was a lot of jaw-dropping moments because in this it's so hard not to give it anyway. But it's just I think I'll just say that Mike White teases you a lot in this season to make you think, oh, I think it's him. Oh, I definitely think it's him. And then, oh, it's not. It's it's like it's so many twists and turns in this season. Yeah. That's why I felt like even when I read the script, there was so many like, oh no. Is it this? Oh, no. And then it goes to another direction and then it goes back. And it's just like, it really keeps you on the edge of your seat. I mean, I have heard a lot of comments about it being a bit of a slow burner this season to start off with, but it really picks up. It really does pick up.
Yeah, and I think we're about to find out pretty soon.
Yes.
Yeah, from this point in time where you are watching this episode of Comedy. Yeah, you're about to find out pretty soon.
Yes.
And thank you so much for coming to Comedy today.
You're very welcome.
Over an hour that we've been talking.
I'm so sorry.
It was so much fun.
I had to change the battery and
So before we let you go, of course we have to ask about your favorite word because our show is called Comedy. Comedy ของ Tayme คือคำว่าอะไรครับ
I guess it's not a word, but you know the when people do the ha 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 thing, there's
so laughter,
the laughter thing that I really didn't get that at first when I first heard it. Because when I couldn't read Thai, I'd get the Line app to read it for me. And it would be like อย่าลืมไปให้ทันเวลานะคะ5,550 it's like, you know, it's like, what the hell is 5,555? You know, like, but then I started to learn, 5 in Thai is like ha, so that ha.
Right.
So that's my it's not a word, but it's definitely something that caught my attention.
It is the first time that anybody gives comedy as like numbers.
Is it?
Yeah. And it's great. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
Yeah, when the next time you come to Thailand, just swing by and give us a visit.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.